Hello, 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 my people. Dr. Adam Tice here. So nice to see you guys. So, I want to touch base, see how everybody's doing this week. Hope the week's going well for you, my human handbook community. Wanted to just touch base, talk about a couple of things today that were on my mind. Persistence, even-mindedness, and groundedness. Just a couple of things again just to keep in mind as we move through the world on spaceship Earth here, another glorious day. Life is precious. Be thankful. Be grateful. It's indeed a hot ticket to be on planet Earth right now for sure. This is the great cosmic show. We're right in the middle of it. So a few things just with everything going on in the world, just again like to stay grounded and positive. So I want to talk about persistence and even-mindedness and groundedness. Persistence, this takes training. This is partly what fasting does for the individual. It gives you it gives you the training and some confidence and clarity in your own physiology, in your own biochemistry, in your own mind, where you can learn to trust yourself when you set a goal and then you make a word and then you actually stick to it and you follow through to it. That kind of programs the brain, and you can neurolinguistically and you can program yourself in a certain way to believe yourself, to trust in yourself, so that you don't have to trust somebody else to spoon feed you how to think, how to believe, what to think, what to believe. And you can extrapolate and expand out, and get the point of what I'm saying is think for yourself. The mind is very fragile. We've talked about this before. Highly, highly suggestive. The power of auto-suggestion, the power of placebo. So there's positive ways to harness that malleability and suggestibility, auto-suggestibility of the mind. Definitely positive uses of that, and we want to do that. And we actually, harness that power in medicine and in therapy. But there are other forces at work that take advantage of that, and this is simply known, in the marketing industry. This is what the commercials and things like this, we've all kind of grew up with all these brand ideas. You get these little things suggested to you. This is what the TV does. This is what the TV has done, is spoon fed you all these little things, and you don't even think about it, but it's getting in, and that branding is working on the system. And again, you can just kind of think about the point that I'm getting at. What has been marketed and spoon-fed to us all persistently in the lamestream media and the the media science? Think about that. And so again, this is partly what the fasting and some of these methods do to train you, so you can get to the point where you're trusting yourself a little bit more, and you're actually even-minded. And even-minded in the sense that you can engage in the higher thinking capacities that separates the human beings from other species on the planet right now. We alone have that higher logic, at least that we know about, in the sense that we can communicate about. I don't think we're the only ones that have any kind of higher intelligence. I just think we don't fully understand, nonverbal and other forms of communications. For example, dolphins use echolocation, other kinds of things, and telepathy and things like that. But that's a little bit of maybe a different discussion. I'm just talking about getting out of the reptilian brain and moving into the higher frontal lobe, abstract thinking, think for yourself part of the brain. And everything that's going on these days, again, you can, with Rover and the special medicines and all these different things, they depend on you being locked into a fear state. And when people are locked into a fear state, the higher logic and the higher reasoning vanishes. So then we're locked into a fear state, or the individual in that state is locked into a fear state. And then that when a person is in that state, logic doesn't matter, facts don't matter, reality does not matter. Only what's being spoon-fed to you that will get you out of that fear state: problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. This is that loop that the mind gets in. And you stay basically in the reptilian, in the really old ancient part of the brain. You get locked into the amygdala, in the emotional centers of the brain. And again, when you're in that state, you cannot decide what is good or right, because it is fear-based, anxiety-driven. And you're never going to be able to see clearly in that state. So again, facts aren't going to matter. Reality doesn't matter. Data doesn't matter to anybody in that state. And again, think about what I'm saying, look around at what I'm saying, and hold on a second, guys. Reality doesn't matter in that state. And so again, the practice of meditation and entering into the whole kind of point of that is the food is the mood. The food that we ingest, the state of the digestion, directly is correlated to the state of the mood and the state of the mind. The last 10 years has really brought this kind of a little bit into the mainstream. It's still kind of tip of the iceberg understanding is a gut-brain axis. At least there's an understanding that there is a connection and that all the neurotransmitters and all the action is happening in the digestion. So the gut and the brain are definitely connected. And the key piece is the heart. And the heart math people have done all the science on this, and you can look those guys up. But this is where we need to bring and integrate all the information together. So we train ourselves through some kind of discipline and training and practice. Fasting is a simple, rapid method to clean the stomach, reset the immune system, reset the neurotransmitters, because the gut resets. And in that way, the mind resets. Okay? This is kind of one of the things that I'd like to transmit is the gut and the mind, the thought and the mind, the food and the mind are intimately connected. And so when we pay special attention and through a little bit of discipline, a little bit of training, a little bit of practice, again, the short fasts are an excellent tool for this. It's one of the main things that happens here is the mind can become clear so that you can see clearly and move out of the anxiety, fear, amygdala, emotional states of the brain and move into the higher reasoning, clearly understanding parts of the brain, so that you can get confidence and stand your ground and understand when you review the data. And I posted just a couple of interesting little pieces of data relevant to Rover and relevant to the special medicines that are, being very, very heavily promoted. And, these are deeply personal decisions that have become, all of a sudden out in the public. Now HIPAA is out the window. There's no personal privacy. There's all that is out the window, and only thing that matters is propaganda and fear. And so all I'm saying is watch the show go by. Use some discipline training, move yourself into an even-minded state so that you can surround yourself and stand your ground and get into that integrated space so that you can actually look and see the data clearly, communicate that clearly, see clearly, get some confidence in what you're knowing and you're believing intuitively to be right, because the intuition is deeply rooted into those higher super conscious faculties that are part of the human potential but have been suppressed. And the special medicines and all the fear and all of this serves only to suppress the superconscious mind and the higher functioning aspects of the human potential that we're trying to bring out. And again, how do we bring these things out? We bring these things out by living a natural lifestyle, leaving the natural biology to its natural state. Fasting and things like this are a great way to just give yourself a tune-up. And that is the message for today, people. So be persistent, be even-minded, and stand your ground. Surround yourself with like-minded people, even if it's this group alone. Again, that's kind of one of the points. The power of the like-minded community, the power of the positive community is super important these days, because I still believe, despite what it appears if you go on any of the mainstream, lamestream media or the legacy social medias, there is a massive, only one kind of logic and discussion is allowed. All the other discussions, contrary to that mainstream narrative and story, they have been escorted off onto other platforms. It's kind of why we're here. You know, we got kicked out of the party. So that's all good. Won't be the first time. So anyway, that's the update for you know, kind of things to think about today, guys. Just wanted to check in, keeping it real. Dr. Tice here, Human Handbook community. You are my people, and you know, I love you. Thank you all for being here. You know, if you want to be a part of our private community, then this is where it's at. I'll leave links in the description below. If you guys know friends that are, you know, that think need to be plugged into, you know, this kind of community that we're forming and that we're growing. This is the silent majority, guys. So, you know, people, you know, I think a lot of people have one or two sort of friends or family that sort of are seeing eye to eye the way that they are in regards to, you know, certain media narratives and certain special medicines being heavily promoted and things like this. So again, people try to get our people here in the right place. And that's the message for today, guys. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Adios.